حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونتوب إليه ونعوذ به من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وبعد. All praise and all glory belong to Allah. Subhanahu, glory be to Him, Lord and Creator of the worlds. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of His blessings. We acknowledge that Allah ta'ala is our Lord. Acknowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our Rabb, our caretaker, our guardian, Rabbul Alameen, Lord of all of the worlds, the seen world, the material world, as well as the spiritual world. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts our testimonies of faith. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts our actions and our deeds as believers. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to bless us with membership in the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The family of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is a spiritual family. And Allah ta'ala honors those believers who heed the call. When we say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, we are answering the call of the soul. Acknowledge its Lord first, Allah, God, and then to follow the example, the teachings, and the lived example of all of the prophets, but specifically Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, because he was the last and final messenger that Allah sent to all of humanity, for all of humanity. It's very important to understand that the Prophet ﷺ carried a universal message for all of humanity. In the Qur'an, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructs the Prophet to say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ إِنِّي رَسُولُ اللَّهِ إِلَيْكُمْ جَمِيعًا. Say, O humanity, verily I am God's messenger to all of you. And in some of the commentaries, some of the tafsir, the scholars say, عَرَبِيهِمْ وَعَجَمِيهِمْ إِلَىٰ عَرَبِيهِمْ وَعَجَمِيهِمْ. That he was sent to both the Arabs of humanity as well as the non-Arabs of humanity. So that a case cannot be made, it's not one that will accept, that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was sent for the Arabs only. And he spoke Arabic, so the Quran is for Arabs only. This is abolished and destroyed. There is a wisdom, there's a reason for why the Quran is in Arabic. There's a reason, a hikmah, a divine wisdom in sending Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to Mecca, where the Kaaba is. And one of the ideas around that is that if you think about Mecca, what is Mecca? What is Mecca? What is the Kaaba? The Kaaba is not the house that Muhammad built. The Kaaba is the house that Abraham built. And so Allah said Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and it's very clear that this is a connection, a divine connection, a prophetic connection to an earlier prophet with an earlier message. A similar one, but different, in a different time. And Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is in that lineage, in that spiritual lineage. In Surah Quraysh, Allah says, فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. Therefore you should worship the Lord of this house. Who is the Lord of this house? What house? The Kaaba in Mecca. Who is the Lord of the house? God. So Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam didn't come with his own thing. He didn't come to talk only to the Arabs of Quraysh. This is why we must be mindful not to fall into the sectarian ideas that, Islam is just for these people or those people, and get trapped in those ideas. It's okay for us to socialize in our social groups. It's okay for black people to want to be with black people and, these people want to be with their people. That's okay. But when we make that the supreme message, it becomes problematic. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not send the prophet of the Arabs or the prophet of the blacks or the prophets of the Latinos or the prophets of the Pakistanis. He sends prophets with the message. And the message is a reminder. Worship Allah and do not associate partners with Him. And so Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was sent with the very same message in its core fundamental truth, the most basic form of it. اعبدوا الله ولا تشركوا به شيئا. This is the first thing. It is documented and recorded that once he stood up to proclaim the message, once he was prepared to deliver the message, the first thing that he said to his tribesmen, to his people, to his ethnic group, he said to them, Ya Bani Fulan. He specified Quraysh and then the clan of Abdul Muttalib. That's the clan that he came from. He said, U'budullah, worship God. Stop worshiping false idols and worship God. And so that set the tone even for the Arabs. They wanted him to say, look, this is what we have in common. Anta Arabi wa nahnu Arab. They would have tried to negotiate that. In fact, they did. They tried to negotiate on the basis of his social status. Well, Muhammad, yeah, we know him. Ibn Abdullah, Ibn Abdul Muttalib, yeah, that orphan kid. But isn't his family, aren't they sort of like, he's an orphan, his parents are dead, he don't really have any money. Let's talk to him about that. Maybe he wants social status. Maybe he wants money. His reply was always the same. This is the core message of the Qur'an. This is the message that the Prophet ﷺ spoke to the people of Mecca first, because he was obligated to speak to them first. As Allah says in the Qur'an, وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ. Caution your close kin people first. This is literally what he did. This is how Ali bin Abi Talib, one of the most outstanding companions, also at the time a little kid who was being raised in the household of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we know Ali as the youngest Sahaba, the youngest person to become Muslim, the youngest person to follow the Prophet. He was a kid of 9 or 10. The Prophet's cousin. How did he become a follower? because the Prophet ﷺ sat him down and said, Ali, think about this. Is it possible for all of this stuff to exist without a creator? He talked to him like this. He talked to him like a person would talk to a child, but he gave him the message. His wife Khadija, from a totally different tribe than his tribe, he gave her the same message. Abu Bakr, Abdullah ibn Abi Quhafa, from a different clan, but he spoke to him in the same way. So this was not a message that was restricted. And therefore, it is not a message that is restricted. And when Allah gives you, when you answer the call of the soul and you surrender to Allah, this is the most natural thing that you can do. Natural means your soul. This is what your soul wants. To acknowledge and recognize its creator. And then this qualifies you for membership in the Ummah. The Ummah is the believers, the community of believers, and is not defined by race or social status. It's defined by belief. Right? The way that it's captured, the way that it's crystallized, and people who've gone on the journey of Hajj can attest to this. Is when you see during the days of Hajj, when we are required to strip ourselves of all of the external things. And if you are blessed to go to Hajj and you stand on Arafah in Mecca, you won't know who's who. Yeah, you'll see different kinds of people. You'll see people and you may recognize that those people are those people over there, they're from the Indian, Pakistani continent. And those people over there, they're Africans. And those people over there, they're Europeans. And those people over there, they're white Americans. And those people over there, they're black Americans. And those people over there, they're Latinos. That's about the best that you can do, for the most part. On Arafah, when you look out across the plain, you won't be able to tell who has money and who doesn't. You won't be able to tell who is who's the doctor, who's the lawyer, who's the banker, who's the teacher, who's the poor person, who's the rich person. You won't be able to tell. Believe me, it's deeply profound. That image, it is the image that impacts people's hearts every year. It is the image, if you read the autobiography of Malcolm X, when Al-Hajj Malik Shabazz, when he went to Mecca, he went as a member of the Nation of Islam. Right? He went as someone who believed in the superiority of black people over white people. And when he went to Mecca and made salah next to white people, he said, wait a minute. Islam is something else. Because these guys right here, these are my brothers. They're calling me brother. They're saying, hey, brother, we didn't know you existed. Welcome. And so the argument is, this is a transformation of the soul. It's a recognition. You realize something. It's bigger than politics. Yes, the politics are important, but it exceeds the politics because it's about God. When I go to God, I can't answer with my politics. I can't stand before God and argue, my politics, my economics, my social status, my education. Because a fundamental part of our belief about our existence is what? That we come from God and we're going back. And then there's an accounting. When the accounting happens, that's not on the test. The test is what you did or didn't do. You have to answer for that. So you can't submit an argument that sounds like, I wore this or I wore that. This is not about your clothes. I was fine. I was ugly. I was short. I was tall. I had a lot of money. I didn't have any money. Because God don't ask about any of that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us what He asks about. There's a surah that we are encouraged to read. Surah Al-Mulk, the dominion. And the first verse starts out. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Tabaraka alladhi biyadihi al-mulk. Wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, blessed be He in whose hands is all dominion. Tabaraka alladhi biyadihi al-mulk. Tabaraka alladhi biyadihi al-mulk. So Allah is telling us everything is by Him, from Him. And He is worthy of praise. Wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. And He has power over all things. وَعَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٍ. He has power over all things. Whether we see it or not, whether we realize it or not, whether we acknowledge it or not, He has power over all things. Because He didn't say it, He has power over all things. What do you guys think? He made an emphatic statement. تَبَارَكَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ الْمُلْكُ وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٍ. Emphatic statement, factual statement, take it or leave it. He didn't ask a question, it's not rhetorical. Some of the Qur'an is rhetorical, because Allah wants us to think about it in a different way. Some of it is emphatic, because Allah wants us to know without doubt. الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. He said, He is the one who created death and life. الذي خلق الموت والحياة. So He's letting us know, not only did He create the life that you're living, He's also the creator of death that you will meet. He started with death because oftentimes we don't want to think about death, especially while we're living. Why am I thinking about death? He's letting us know. الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. So that He may try you in order to see which of you is best in their deeds. This is where we glean from the Qur'an that life is a big test. You have big tests, you have little tests, you have significant, difficult tests, you have easy tests. We are a test for one another. We test one another. We're tested with good. Because when Allah gives us good, what is the test? Is to see what we do with it. We're tested with hardship. To see if we lose the faith that we proclaim to have. We're tested. لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. To see who is best in their deeds. So the deeds matter. Because they are being tallied. There is an accounting. So the primary motivation of the believer is to never forget this. Even when we act like we forget it. Even when we are neglectful. We still have to try to remind ourselves. I'm going to be asked about this. I will be held accountable for this. And the hardest thing for us to do many times, it's easy for me to hold you accountable. This is where we get the religious practice of some people who are always interested in how you doing it. How you say Assalamu alaikum. You say Assalamu alaikum and I say Wa alaikum assalam. No, brother. Say Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You know, brother, I saw you the other day and I noticed that your thobe was a little long, brother. Shorten your thobe. Grow your beard. Cover your face. For women. Right? All of these things that place the focus on superficial things that really don't mean a lot. Some of these things can be considered acts of worship. But if they are to be considered acts of worship, right, then that's not something that you broadcast because it affects your intention. So if I decide that it's better for me spiritually to observe something that I believe is the correct way to do it, I don't go around showcasing that and acting like I'm better than other people because, my understanding of this matter is this. And this can become a trap where you become trapped in your idea of self-righteousness. I'm better than you. Why are you better than me, brother? Because look at my thobe. Look at me. Look at what I'm doing. Look at how I'm doing it. This is a subtle thing. We make the effort about pleasing other people. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us that. You take that and run with that. If that's what you want people to praise you. You want people to think you're a great Muslim. A wonderful believer. But the fact remains, brother or sister, we get caught up in this. I get caught up in my vanity about how I'm doing this Islam thing. The fact remains that Allah is going to ask me how I live my life. Was I a truthful person? Or did I have a thobe on and lie every time I open my mouth? Did I have a long beard and I engage in deceit, deceiving people? Hiding people, doing things, hurting people. Was I an evil-hearted person? These are the things that Allah will ask us about, those deeper motivations. So we must take care with the soul. We must take care with the ego. We must do our best to engage in some discipline, focus, on taming the ego. Because without it, the ego will run and use whatever you need. So if you need to be that guy, your nafs will let you be that guy. You'll look in the mirror and you will see that. Now I'm the man. If your ego needs to be, the controller, the dominant, it will feed your arrogance over people. If that's what you need. And without discipline, focus. People ask, well, why the dhikr? Why are you doing dhikr? You do dhikr so that you can remember that it's about Allah, not about you. Doesn't the word dhikr mean to remember? That's what dhikr means. And every time you say Allahu Akbar, you are expressing a truth and internalizing a truth. You're expressing the truth of existence. God is greater than everything. You're internalizing the truth about your reality. Certainly God is greater than me. No matter how great I think I am. I might think I'm a great guy. But God is greater than me. When I realize that God is greater than me, I humble myself before my Maker. So I don't play. I don't play with these things about how I'm supposed to devote myself to Him. I don't play with that. This is why you hear me sometimes from this minbar describe the project of living your life as the most serious endeavor that you can engage in. This is your life, and Allah will ask you about your life. So I ask you again, how are you living? It's easy to talk. It's easy to quote. And nowadays, in the era of social media, it's easy to post. You know, oftentimes, you peruse these things, you listen to people's conversations, you say, ooh, man, you know, you might have to answer for that statement. You should at least be sure. Are you even trying to? You know, you're pointing out the faults of the brother. Are you trying to live that way yourself first? Allah's not going to ask you about me. He's going to ask me about me. Then He's going to ask me about you if I've done things to violate you. He's not going to ask me about what you're doing. He's not going to ask you about what I'm doing. So when you personalize the accounting and realize that your soul is on a journey, this message is very simple and easy to accept. Very sobering. It's sobering because if you accept that you're flawed like everybody else, which means you can make a mistake like everybody else, which means you can do wrong like everybody else, which means that the very same things that you often caution people against, you also can fall right into those very things. It makes you more mindful of what you say and why you say it. It makes you more mindful of, making sure that you're not a person who, as Allah says in the Qur'an, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, lima taquluna ma la taf'alun. He said, oh, you who believe, why do you say that which you do not do? He didn't say, oh, humanity, oh, mankind. He said it to the believers first. Why do you say that which you do not do? And this is, one of the scholars of Tafsir says, this is a subtle caution against hypocrisy. Right? So if you're really not doing a whole lot that you should be doing, the last thing that you need to do is to go around telling other people what they should do. And invest in your energy. Instead of fixing yourself, you're on this mission to fix everybody else. This is not the prophetic way. This is not from the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You know how we know? We know because people asked his family. Was not the Prophet ﷺ always in a position of telling people what to do and how to do it? He had to answer questions all the time. I'm certain that people said, well, Muhammad, this guy got an answer for everything. Okay, so is he really doing all this stuff that he's telling us to do? Because we have hadith that tell us that the Prophet ﷺ his family was asked. We know what he says on the minbar. But y'all tell us, how is he at home? What kind of man is he at home? Does he call us to compassion and he treats you guys bad? Does he call us to mercy and he has no mercy for you? Does he instruct us to be kind? And he's a mean, you know what, to y'all? And every time they were asked this question, They would say, when he was home, he was in the service of his family. This is a sahih hadith. كان في خدمة أهله. When he was home, he served his family. That means he did stuff for them. He played with the kids. He was a human being, a kind, compassionate, loving human being at home first. So if we want to follow the sunnah, brothers, let's follow this sunnah first. Because many times, and I've known some sheikhs in my life, right? Strong position, strong knowledge. Go talk to one of their kids. They can't stand the guy. I always wonder, what's up with that? You don't play with your kid? Why does your kid hate you? Because sometimes the sheikh is on the people. And then at home he's intolerable. So this idea, we have to dig deeper when we start saying things like, I'm following the sunnah, and understand that the sunnah has to impact your character. It must impact your character as a man. Prophet ﷺ modeled the behavior of a devout servant of God. He lived that way. Well, brothers and sisters, these are just some reflections for us. Because I believe that we're living in a time when in our environment there's a lot of contention, there's a lot of conflict, there's a lot of upheaval in the country, in the state, in the city, in the community. And oftentimes we find ourselves, I know I do, saying, why are people doing this kind of stuff? What's wrong with people? And I find myself needing to remind myself first that life is about certain things. If you decide to live as a believer, you have to remind yourself that life is about committed to a certain path. So I want to share this with you, this reminder that I often give. And I tell people that it's very beneficial, a sunnah that we can implement. So you know how you hear an announcement or you read an announcement about somebody dying. Most of us, we make the effort to go to the janazah, which is the sunnah, a great thing to do. You know what is also a good practice? To make it a habit of frequenting visitation of the dead. You build that into your weekly schedule. If you can't do it every week, do it every other week. When you go to the cemetery and you stand out there, invariably you're going to stand there and say, you know, I knew that dude. And if you make dua for your brother or sister, even the ones you may not know, you may think, what's going to happen when I'm like them? Is somebody going to come out here and pray for me? Is somebody going to think that I'm worth coming out to pray for? Are my children going to come and make dua for me? Or did I mess that up? Or the people I leave behind, they're going to forget a lot about me when I'm gone. But I hope they remember, pray for my soul. Make that investment now. Make that investment now by the seeds that you plant. Make that now. But go to the cemetery. This is actually something that's very healthy to do. Psychologically, a lot of us don't want to think about death. It's we attach death to morbidity. It's morbid, it's dark. I don't want to think about dying. Even though everybody knows that they're going to die. Even the ones who deny death, they're fight. Yeah, man, that's it. But they're going to check out anyway, right? This is actually a very healthy thing to do, psychologically and spiritually. If you've been blessed to participate in preparing the body for the final journey to the next realm, if you extend that to a frequent visitation, inshallah, the Prophet ﷺ called death hadim al-that. He called us to remember death often when he said, "Akfiru min dhikri hadim al-that." Remember the destroyer of all pleasure frequently. What does this mean? That when you check out, you can't take the car. You got a fat whip out. You can't take it. Can't take the jewelry. Definitely can't take the girl. Might not want to take the girl. The girl might tell him, right? No, I didn't say that. You can't take the house. You can't take the houses. The stocks, you can't take the bonds, you can't take the savings, you can't take the money, you can't take the clothes, you can't take the sneakers, you can't take the shoes, the pants, the belts, the shirts, the hats, the glasses, the jewelry, the chains, the hijabs, the niqabs, the heels, the makeup. You can't take any of it. And even if you did, it would be of no benefit. The angels are not going to ask you, is your cup fresh? They're not going to look at your clothes. You won't have clothes. They're not going to say, what's the spreadsheet look like? What's the financial spreadsheet look like? The spreadsheet be your deeds, your a'mal. إنما هي أعمالكم أحصيها لكم ثم أوفيكم إياها. This is in a hadith narrated by the Prophet where he says, Allah says, verily it is only your deeds. They are tabulated, they're kept stock of. ثُمَّ أُوَفِّيكُمْ إِيَّاهَا. And then the time will come when it will be played back to you. What does the end of the hadith say? فَمَنْ وَجَدَ خَيْرًا فَلْيَحْمَدِ اللَّهِ. So whoever is met with good should say, praise be to God. Alhamdulillah. وَمَنْ وَجَدَ غَيْرَ ذَلِكَ فَلَا يَلُومَنَّ إِلَّا نَفْسَهُ. Whoever finds anything other than that has no one to blame. Ask Allah Ta'ala to make us people of consciousness and remembrance. We ask Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to make us people of the heart. We ask Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to make us people of istighfar, seeking forgiveness. We ask Allah Ta'ala to make us of the tawabin, those who repent frequently. We ask Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to make us of the musabbihin, those who glorify Allah frequently. We may ask Allah Ta'ala to make us min al-dhakireen, al-dhakirat, those who remember Allah frequently, men and women. We ask Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for a good outcome. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. على سيدنا محمد الطيب الطاهر الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. I want to close with a hadith that's related to what I just said. It's reported by Yazid al-Muqashi. He said that I've heard it said that when when the deceased is set in his tomb, his works amass around him and are given to speak by God, so that they say, O bondsman, alone in his pit, your family and friends are now separated from you, so that today we are your sole companions. So this hadith, or this athar, brings home the idea that when we are in the grave, the companions that we will have will be our deeds. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that our deeds are good deeds. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that our bad deeds are minimal. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His forgiveness, for His mercy, and for His compassion. Very short announcement, inshallah, after Salah, we have some guests from the University of Pennsylvania, from the medical school and the dental school, and they're here with us for Jumu'ah and for a session. I believe we will be set up outside, so the setup is a little different. The sidewalk is occupied. So, inshallah, you're welcome to sit, but we welcome our guests. We say welcome to our masjid. And just a word about these visitations, because we do a lot of these here at Cuba, and I've heard that the question has been asked, although it hasn't been asked to me, right? But I've heard that people wonder, what is this about? Like, why are we inviting people to the mosque? And it's really about, in a simple idea, introducing ourselves by ourselves. Right? So when people ask, can they come to the masjid to visit, we say yes. And we tell them about our community, about our masjid, about who we are. Because there's a lot of other information out in the larger public space. Now, the group that's here today, they're here for an educational visit. But we've also hosted people from synagogues and from churches, and we're very open about who we are as a Muslim community, how Allah has blessed us. How Allah has blessed us. Part of why we do that is so that we don't accept that, Islam is an Arab thing and we don't know any better, so we're just going with the Arab. We don't accept that. We reject that. We don't accept that Islam is a black man thing. Right? We don't accept that only Arabs are Muslims. Muslims have to speak Arabic. Right? And sometimes these are the ideas that are in the larger society, the larger community. Without contact with living, breathing Muslims, people often believe what they hear. They don't know any better. Right? You often hear me say that the best type of da'wah, if you want to give da'wah, is contact with you. Contact with a person who says they're Muslim, so that people can understand. So this is what the visit is about. There are men and women here, so please be mindful of that to make them feel welcome to our community. And as I mentioned, inshallah, after Salah, I believe we'll be set up outside. And we'll have a little short session. And so you're welcome to stick around if you choose to do that, inshallah. اللهم صل على سيدنا المرسلين وإمام المتقين وقد أمركم الله بذلك في كتابه العزيز فقال جل من قائل إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وأنعم على عبدك ورسولك نبينا محمد وارض اللهم عن الصحابة والتابعين ومن تبع هديهم وهداهم إلى يوم الدين وارض اللهم عنا معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب النار برحمتك يا كريم يا جبار سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وأقم الصلاة